The RodeVideo Mic NTG is a content creator's dream. Hey, I'm Brian Miller, former professional magician turned author, speaker, podcast host, and consultant on human connection. And in this video, I want to take a look at a brand new product from Rode, one of the leaders in consumer, prosumer, and professional audio equipment, particularly microphones. Their latest creation is truly extraordinary. The RodeVideo Mic NTG is an all-around, buy it once, be done with audio solution for the vast majority of content creators. And in this video, we're just gonna take a look at an overview of what this mic can do for you if you're someone who, in this age, is looking to find their voice, use their voice, create connection and community with a tribe of people who share your beliefs and values. If you're trying to make an impact in the digital age, if you're trying to make a dent in the universe here on the internet, this mic is gonna help get you there. All the audio you're hearing in this video is coming directly out of the RodeVideo Mic NTG. It's currently sitting just out of frame above my head. It's about, 8 inches? It's about 8 inches above my mouth, just out of frame. This is raw, unprocessed audio unless otherwise noted. I'll put a note on the screen if I want to show you some post-processing, Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I did not pay for this microphone out of my own pocket. Rode reached out a few months ago and offered to send it to me in exchange for a review. So if I don't like something, I simply don't make a review about it. Does that mean I have no bias? Of course not. We all have biases, and when someone sends you something for free, it's not that you're more likely to enjoy it, it's that you don't look at it with the same critical eye you do if you had dropped $250 on the product, which is what this costs right now, $250. Now that's a lot of money, but I want to take a look in this video at what you're getting for that money and why spending a little more on something of this quality that's this versatile will probably save you a lot in the long run. If you're looking for a more detailed review of this microphone rather than an overview, head to the link in the description. That is a full detailed review on my other channel, my Audio for Content Creators channel, which is a technical channel. And that's where I'm gonna have lots of sound samples and comparisons and stuff like that. So let's take a look at 3 reasons why this microphone, the RodeVideo Mic NTG, is an excellent one and done choice for content creators. First, it gets out of your way. Second, it's versatile. And third, it's adjustable, highly adjustable. So when I say it gets out of your way, what do I mean by that? Well, for starters, it sounds great right out of the box. If you don't change anything, if all you do is set the input gain correctly, which you would have to do with any microphone that has input gain, as long as you set the gain correctly so you're not overloading or overdriving your input capture, whatever you're using, you might be plugging it into a camera or a phone or an audio recorder or your computer, as long as you set the gain correctly and touch no other settings, it sounds fantastic right out of the box. And that sound is full and crisp, which is something very few prosumer level microphones are able to achieve. Typically, when you're in the consumer or even prosumer range, anywhere from $40 or $50 mics up to kind of $300, $400 mics, anytime you're looking at those, they typically are either full or crisp. Having a mic that's got a warm, full low end and a crisp top end to cut through the noise is excellent. It automatically powers on and powers off with your camera. So if the microphone is plugged into your camera, if you're using it sitting on top of a camera, or even if it's sitting like this, but you've got a long cable running it directly into your camera, as soon as you turn your camera on, about a half a second later, the microphone turns itself on. And when you turn your camera off, the microphone turns itself off. So it doesn't stay on all the time and waste battery the way that microphones used to. That's not a brand new feature. It's been around in some newer mics in the last year or two, but it's great to have it here. And while we're talking about the sound quality, this is a super cardioid microphone. Now, I'll get more into the technical aspect of what that means on the deep review on my other channel, but For now, what you need to know is that means it's very directional. Supercardioid means it really only picks up directly in front of the mic. So if you got the mic here, if the mic was pointed at me like this, it would be picking up directly in front of it. But if you move the mic here and it was pointing even 1 inch to the left or to the right of my mouth, it wouldn't be picking it up nearly as much. Now, this is a pro and a con. I always need to get that out there. Super directional, supercardioid microphones, they're fantastic for rejecting background noise because it's only picking up what's directly in front of it, which is great. The problem is that means you have to be really careful about where you're pointing it. There's really no room for error. If you point it even a little bit up, down, left, or right, it's going to completely change the sound quality. So I'm gonna put this in it gets out of your way because it helps you eliminate background noise, especially if you're running and gunning, if you're moving through the world, if you're in public places, if you have air conditioners or other people, roommates. But you have to be a little bit more careful with where you're pointing it. And finally, under the gets out of your way category, we have the 30-hour charge. So yes, this is a rechargeable microphone via USB-C, and it includes the USB-C cable, of course, and it supposedly lasts for 30 hours on a single charge. I have not tested that myself, but what I've found is I've gone 2 weeks using this on a regular basis, and it has not lost its charge. So that's pretty good. At some point, my computer went to screensaver. Okay, on to the second point. It is versatile. Yes, you can plug this microphone into your camera, your smartphone, your tablet, your computer. No matter what you plug it into, it automatically detects whatever it's plugged into and adapts itself to that device. Now, if you've never dealt with microphones before like this, you might not understand why that is so amazing. Well, the reason it's amazing is depending on what you plug into, you need a different type of cable, a different type of connector. There's TRS and TRRS. If you're plugging into a camera or an audio recorder, you need a TRS cable. If you're plugging into a smartphone, tablet, or computer, you need a TRRS cable. And a lot of these budget or consumer or even prosumer level microphones only come with one cable. They come with either a TRS if it's designed for a camera or an audio recorder, or they come with a TRRS if that mic was specifically designed for a smartphone or a tablet or computer. So what happens is if you end up wanting to use that mic you own with the other type of device, you need to buy an adapter cable, which are fiddly and obnoxious. You need to keep it on you and not lose it and all that stuff. But this particular mic, I've never seen anything like it. I know Rode's not the first to do it, but I'm just mesmerized by the fact that you can plug it in to any device and it works. And on that note, because the microphone is reasonably compact, I mean, it's not nearly as small as you'll get in the budget level mics, you know, the $50, $60 shotgun mics, but it's reasonably compact and it's very, very light, so you can do almost anything with it. You can mount it on top of your camera for run and gun vlogging or documentary filmmaking, indie filmmaking. Speaking of filmmaking, you can boom it on a boom mic if you wanted to, just stick it on the end of a boom arm, whatever those things are called, right? For filmmaking uses, you can do what I'm doing, boom it directly overhead during a video like this. I'm just using a really cheap microphone stand with an adapter on the end to put it above my head right now. And I think I've made a video about how to do that. Here's a link if I did. You can plug it into your smartphone or tablet for doing live streaming, and it'll just work perfectly for that. What am I hoping to achieve by starting this business? And if the answer is only, I'm hoping to make money, you're probably not going to connect with an audience. And you can plug it in via the USB-C connection to your computer, and it becomes an audio interface. This is the RodeVideo Mic NTG that is being used as a USB audio interface right now. So I'm getting no latency audio monitoring directly out of it. It's got a USB-C going directly into the computer. The computer is using the microphone as an audio interface. And finally, it's super adjustable. So what do I mean by adjustable? Well, there are a million different functions built into this thing. It's got a switch for a standard low cut, or high pass filter. So low cut and high pass mean the same thing in case you ever see those. It's very confusing. I don't know why we do that to ourselves. It's got a low cut at 75 hertz. Why would you use that? Well, you should basically use that anytime you're doing talking head, because the human voice, even a deep male voice, has no usable information underneath 75 hertz. The only stuff that's under that is low rumble, like car noise, street noise, air conditioners, stuff that you don't want in a talking head shot. If you're actually out there doing a filmmaking project and you're trying to record a car noise or the street or the real world, then yeah, obviously, in that case, don't put the low cut filter on. But if you're just talking, low cut filter should be on all the time. It's on right now. But it also has a 150 hertz low cut filter or high pass filter on it. And what is that good for? Well, that's good for cutting out wind noise. So if you're in an outdoor environment, particularly windy environment, and sometimes you hear that that comes into a microphone, well, engage the 150 hertz filter. You'll lose some of the low end of your voice. We'll also get rid of the low wind noise that's impeding on the mic. And you're probably better off having your voice sound a little bit less full, but also not being distracted by the wind noise. So that's built in, which is great. Then there's all kinds of other cool features, like a 20 decibel pad. Therefore, you can record some loud noises much, much easier. It's also got a high frequency boost built in. I'm not using that right now because I find this mic is crisp enough, but if you're recording somebody who has a particularly low voice and they really just don't have any crispiness to their voice, you can engage the high frequency boost, and it'll give you just a little bit of that beautiful crispy sound. It also has a built-in safety track feature, which is not something we're gonna go into right now, but super useful for those of us who go out in the field and have to do stuff very quickly, set up, start recording, and not think too hard about our levels. It basically means it records 2 tracks simultaneously, the one that you've set it for, and another one that's a lower volume, which is just in case you accidentally clip, overdrive, overload the microphone by having it set too high, or someone talks louder than you were expecting, or yells or screams or something. This is a way to ensure that you've got a second track that was recorded at a lower volume, which is much less likely to distort. So that's super useful to have in here. Okay, in conclusion, if you're somebody who's not into gear, you're not like I am or some other folks are, where we just love testing out new microphones and cameras and trying out settings and technology. If the reason that you're looking for a mic is because you've got a voice, you've got something to say, you've got a message that needs to be heard, and you're trying to build a community, right? Either here on YouTube or on Instagram or as a podcaster or whatever, and you just need a microphone that's gonna do the job, sound great, and get out of your way. For $250, it's gonna cost you a little bit, but it'll be the last microphone you ever need, unless you kill the internal battery. It's a rechargeable battery, and we all know from our phones, right, that rechargeable batteries over time stop keeping their charge. If you find it's not keeping its charge well anymore, unfortunately, you're gonna have to replace this thing completely. You can't just replace the battery, and for those of you who are very conscious of the environment, that obviously adds to landfills and all that kind of stuff. So that's the one huge downside to this. But other than that, if you're looking for a mic that's a one and done, gonna work for every type of project. You can use it for your narration work, for your podcast, for your YouTube channel, for live streaming, for anything. This is the answer. Okay, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope this was useful. If it was, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you'd want to learn more about how to build meaningful connections with anyone in your life, personally and professionally. That's the scope of the work I do, is all human connection in a distracted, divisive, and increasingly automated world. And that's what I talk about here on this channel, and on my blog, and on my podcast, and in my book, and all those other places. Links to everything in the description of this video. That said, my name is Brian Miller. Thanks so much for sticking with me, and always remember that our world is a shared experience.